Etsy ads is a pretty terrible platform, but if you want to sell on Etsy and make significant sales, you absolutely have to use it. So I'm going to show you why Etsy ads suck and how to actually dance around these problems and use it to your benefit. What's up, everybody? Dave here. So we all know that Etsy ads can be pretty frustrating and it can lead you to some pretty frustrating moments. It has limited settings, it has limited power, limited control, but without using it, you're stuck fighting your way to the top organically, and you will be left in the dust otherwise. So today I'm going to talk about why it sucks, but how to overcome those challenges and how to make more money selling on Etsy with Etsy ads. Before we get started, definitely grab the free Etsy ads cheat sheet in the description below, as well as if you would like help with your store one-on-one in my mentorship program, you can book a free 10-minute call in the description below. I'll show you what I see in your store, tell you how I can grow it, and we'll go from there. So let's jump into it. Why Etsy ads is a terrible ad platform that you actually have to use. Etsy ads can throw you for a loop, piss you off, and take your money all in one day. It can also make you very rich if you play the game right. Some people boycott it while others embrace it. Now, we all have heard the stories where people say that you don't need Etsy ads to be successful. And while that is very possible and theoretically possible, I would argue that it's statistically more rare than not. You actually need Etsy ads to fight your way to the top, especially if you're in a high competition niche, you have a high competition product, or seriously, in my opinion, on Etsy.com. It's a high competitive platform. You really do need to run Etsy ads and have it work, even if it's a low budget. Whether you choose a low budget or a high budget Etsy ad strategy, it's a necessary evil for Etsy sellers. And I've done videos recently on low budget versus high budget strategy, and you can check those out on my channel. So problem is that Etsy ads kind of sucks in the grand scheme of things, but the solutions I'm going to provide today will definitely help you. But the solution is to learn the pitfalls and dance around them gracefully to make more sales for your Etsy store. Let's talk about suck number one, fickle budget usage. This is a very frustrating one that if you don't understand this or have noticed this yet, please listen. So do you want to change your Etsy ad budget, daily spending budget? Not so fast. That one change could completely derail all your momentum, not only just your Etsy ads ROAS, but your entire store's organic sales as well. The problem is that daily budget is hyper connected to not only your Etsy ads performance, but your organic listings performance as well. Etsy says this is not true very briefly in a ambiguous way, which I've covered before on this channel. But everyone knows that this is absolutely true. If your ads are selling more of a product or a listing, rather, its organic performance increases. Otherwise, this is the catch here. Otherwise, the algorithm would have to ignore sales history. So if you're getting a lot of sales on ads on a listing, to imply that Etsy ad performance does not impact organic performance means that the claim also must have the claim must also be that the algorithm is ignoring sales history, which absolutely cannot be true. It would break the whole system. So the solution here, when the budget is fickle, you change your budget, it falls flat on its face, and it stops spending and it stops performing. You could be doing really well for a few weeks, months, or even years, and then you change your ad budget, and everything changes. It happens way more often than you would think if you haven't experienced it already. So what do? The solution is to know when to change your budget. A lot of people change it when they shouldn't be changing it, but they change it anyway. So when you want to actually increase it, the safest way to go about this is check to see if it's spending its daily budget. If it's not, if it's spending like 10% of the daily budget you have it set at, increasing it won't do anything. It used to be years ago that you set it as something and it would definitely spend that amount each day. Then it was up to you to turn off which listings were not profitable, and you essentially had a money-making machine. It was great. If you guys want to build your own website outside of Etsy, I highly recommend Everbee Store. They have a builder that is extremely intuitive, very customizable, and you can import your listings from other platforms, and you can have AI do it. They also have templates, of course. Very nice. I checked it out myself, and I highly recommend it. The link is in the description if you want to try it. This is when you want to change it. If it's spending over 70% of your daily budget each day, the more percentage here, the safer. You can somewhat safely increase it without the huge risk of the campaign being stubborn and falling flat on its face. So do not change it emotionally. Do not change it whenever, whyever, however. Just don't change it unless you actually know why you're changing it and what you're looking out for. Now, I have a ton of videos on my channel about all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to dive into it super deep today. You can grab the Etsy Ads cheat sheet, or you can grab the full Etsy Ads course in the description. You can have me help you in your store with my mentorship. But just know that if you want to increase it, make sure it's spending at least 70% of its daily budget each day. You can click on spend on the top of the campaign and for last 30 days and hover over the graph to see how much it's spending each day on average. Or you can simply divide the 30-day spend by 30. That will give you your daily average. That's a very good way to do it. So that's suck number one. Suck number two is the stats in the Etsy Ads dashboard are actually misleading and very, not confusing, but misleading. I don't know why they would choose to word it this way, and it kind of pisses me off. But beneath the main graph, Etsy has a column named views. It's next to each one of your ads. Your listings ad did not get that many views, okay? Those are actually impressions. Impressions are when something shows up on a computer screen, it just loads. The shopper doesn't even have to acknowledge it with their eyes or click on it or whatever. They don't even have to see it or acknowledge it for it to count as a technical impression. If it loaded on the screen, it counts. That's an impression. Okay. That is not a traditional view. A click, what they're calling a click, that is actually a view. I would argue that why would they not just call it impressions? And then I would further argue that they're simply just not gamifying it, but they're just calling it views to make you feel better, but they're just impressions. You're not getting thousands of views on those Etsy ads. They're impressions. When somebody clicks, that's when you pay. That's when somebody actually views the listing. So that's suck number two. The solution here is just to understand that. Not really a big epiphany here. Just understand that they're not actually views. You might not have known that until now. And you might not have even known what an impression is, but that is what an impression is. So just understand that. And this language can be potentially confusing, which is pretty frustrating that they do that, but just know that. That's fine. Suck number three is that there's no control over cost per click and lack of control over the entire platform in general. But we're going to talk about cost per click in this one. You have literally no control over your or option to make a bid, set an auto bid, or a max bid for your cost per click. Years ago, when Etsy ads used to be called promoted listings, we did. It was great. You could set auto bid, meaning your max cost per click on each listing for your whole campaign, or you could do a manual bid on specific listings, which was awesome. You could increase the manual bid. And I remember back then, just a quick moment of reminiscing, you could manually bidding like 60 cents was way higher than you really actually needed to. Nowadays, like 60 cents is like a normal cost per click with Etsy ads. But just a few short years ago, a 60-cent manual bid would muscle your way straight to the top. And it was so easy then. But now we have very little control, max budget, strategy, and what listings are advertised. Those are essentially all the things that you can control with your Etsy ads campaign. So understand that, and understand that those three things have massive implications. They have a lot of power, more power than you realize. And when you change it a lot, that can hurt a lot. I've talked about that a lot on the platform or on this video, on this channel. Don't change things a lot unless you know what you're doing. That will hurt your store. The solution here is to turn off listings going over your comfortable cost per purchase, plain and simple. It's one of the only damage control mechanisms that we possess in our toolkit as Etsy sellers, is that you can turn off an individual listing if it's going over your comfortable cost per purchase. What's that, you ask? It's how much money you're willing to spend after all your material costs in order to actually profit. If it goes over that amount, turn that listing off. It's not coming back from the dead. Next thing is to understand that your listing's titles and tags point where your money is spent. It's the only control of what direction your money is getting spent in. And that putting money behind your SEO has implications. So, your SEO is like aiming a gun, and then the money is like pulling the trigger per se. And it's very important that you don't just put ads on terrible SEO, because that will get you terrible results. So understand all three of those things, that yes, Etsy ads might suck and be frustrating, but if you don't understand what sucks about it, at least past an emotional level, and you don't understand what to do beyond that, then you will be stuck being frustrated and not getting anywhere. But the reality is that you can get places with Etsy ads, and it's actually quite necessary to grow an Etsy store to mass levels of sales. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Ask me anything in the comments below. Book a free call in the description below, as well as grab the free Etsy ads cheat sheet, and I'll see you in the next video.